Well, here we are, and I hope it's working better than the one I scheduled. Okay, now we've had quite a few posts and quite heated discussions about crate training. It's a hot topic just now, um, and the question is to crate or not to crate. And it's interesting also that most of us we talk about crates, not cages, which is actually what they are, because somehow I think we don't like to think we're caging our dog. So what actually are we talking about when we're talking about should we crate the dog? Are we talking about, we're obviously not talking about putting it in prison. We're talking about putting our dog somewhere to stop him or her toileting all over the place. Maybe stop him or her chewing everything. A calm place, somewhere to keep him or her contained during the night. Somewhere to keep the puppy safe from the children, the children safe from the puppy. And somewhere to leave him or her when you go out. I should carry on saying him for now, not her, but I think next time I'll use her because I think we ought to be balanced nowadays, don't you? So something as small and confining as a crate may not be necessary for those things, stopping the toileting, keeping the dog out of the way, keeping him contained to stop him chewing things. Yesterday, some poor member who may actually be listening to this put a simple question about how to train her puppy, and she had a barrage of replies, and some about the ethics of crate training. For every reply, there's a different input, and one actually ended up in a clash, unfortunately, which I wasn't quick enough to step in on. It was a very distressing comment from a lady who obviously was doing everything she could to do things right. And she wanted to have, well, she believed she should have her puppy sleeping downstairs in a crate. And she left him to cry all night, and it was something like 6 or 7 hours. And eventually he was quiet. But, this did actually bring up some comments which upset her. And she obviously been told, I think she said that a trainer had told her to do this. It's very old-fashioned notion, really, leaving a puppy to cry, a bit like leaving a baby to cry. Anyway, unfortunately, it upset her and she left. But that is the depth of sort of feeling the issue of crate training can have on us. So anyway, it needs to be taken on a case-by-case basis. Every puppy and every dog is different. The people they live with, the families are different, whether they're children, whether there are other dogs. One size simply doesn't fit all. But what is certain is that people want to do the best for their puppies. So the first question has to be is, what do you want to crate your puppy for? If people actually analyse the reasons, they may not find them sufficiently important to cause a lot of grief. So I think it's a question of picking your battles. Some puppies take to it immediately and some just don't. And is it worth it? So puppy owners seem to have been led to believe that having a crating the puppy is something to do with being a good puppy parent, a bit like making sure it's had its injections and, I don't know, and feeding from a bowl, which also isn't necessary. It's all part of doing the right thing of having a puppy. Asked why, and having no good reason apart from having been told I should have the puppy sleep downstairs, they could have another think about it, I think. There's just so much conflicting advice going around. So sometimes for family reason it's essential, and that's fine. So having answered the question to yourself why you want to do it, the next question is, of course, how. I will never have everybody agreeing with me, and never or with each other, because people have very strong views and a lot of them are different. But these are my views, and they're backed up with having worked with hundreds of dogs and lots of puppies, well, thousands, and also having had at least 10 dogs from puppy myself in my long life. So my views aren't based just on experience of having one puppy now, or maybe having had a couple, and thinking that every other puppy should fit the same thing. I know they're all different. And so what works for one dog may just not work for somebody else. Anyway, here is my what I feel is right if you have the right setup. You need space. So the ideal thing, I think, is to have a puppy pen. Now, in that pen, you could well have a crate, and that's quite nice. Dog's bed, puppy's bed goes in the crate. But the pen gives him much more space. He can have all his precious toys in there. You can feed him in there. The crate can have the bed. And so, as a start, the crate is going to be somewhere he'll choose to go, and the pen has to be made the best place in the world, really. Somewhere that, you know, it's a safe haven from the kids, somewhere to put him when he goes wild, which he will, or chases people and the rest of it, but never as punishment. It's not banishment. It really is. Time out isn't punishment. Time out is somewhere else to give everybody a break, and puppy a break, and give him something to do while he's in there. Okay, you could of course use a small room, like a utility room with a baby gate, but the thing is that is almost banished from the family unless it leads off the kitchen. And it's not banishment that you're looking for. You need him to get used to being in his own area, not always following you around, and so on. So that is a good use for the pen. Some puppies, once they get used to the pen, you may find they never actually need the crate. And this actually brings us on to the other thorny thing of, you know, should dogs sleep downstairs? But again, it depends on the person. So the next inevitable question is it important that you start this right from the start? I would say if it's your choice to have the puppy sleeping downstairs and it should never go upstairs or into your bedroom, which is absolutely fine. There are lots of reasons for that, and some people just don't like it. But that means that to begin with, really, you need to go down and sleep with the puppy just for a little while. You could have the crate upstairs to begin with, which a lot of people do, and gradually move it away and downstairs as the puppy becomes more confident, and that's a good solution. Or you may, if you really don't want puppy in your room, have to start downstairs, and if you want puppy in the crate, have the crate next to the sofa, comfort puppy, and so on. A member called Natalie had a good idea upstairs. Her puppy hated being in the crate and was really a good puppy in a bed next to their bed. And they used the crate for the puppy to go into a toilet. So they had puppy pads in the crate, so the puppy used the crate for toileting. But actually, that is one good reason for using a crate. And there are some good reasons. And that is that if the puppy is happy in the crate, and only if you make the interior of the crate with a barrier or even a cardboard box small enough that puppy can't leave his bed, then he's very unlikely to soil in the crate unless he's absolutely desperate, because he won't want to soil in his bed. It obviously only works for puppies that aren't used to soiling in their beds. Right, so another good reason for a puppy to be familiar with a crate, even if you don't leave him in there very much, is that when you take him to the vet, they have to crate the puppy, so it makes the vet ordeal a little bit less. A lot of dogs are put in crates or car crates in the boot of the car. Again, that is something they need to be used to so that they're happy to travel. And some hotels, if you take your dog to stay in a hotel, you may be expected to, well, you'll have to crate the puppy if you wanted to go to dinner, for instance. So, you know, having puppy used to a crate as an exercise is a very good thing, really. So my own 4, well, I had 5 at the time when I had my last puppy, all have been used to being in a crate. In my case, I have a nice big crate. I've been going out doing behaviour consultations. They could be out for, say, 3.5 hours. And puppy is fine in the crate with the other dogs about. And I know that puppy's safe. And I know the other dogs aren't being annoyed by the puppy. So that was absolutely fine. So having decided you're going to do it, and the reasons you're happy with it, you need to look at how you're going to do it. All right. This, I sort of quite empathize with the puppies. and older dogs in particular. I shut myself in the loo. It reminds me of an old rhyme, oh dear, what can the matter be? Anyway, I shut myself in the loo. I've got an old house, very heavy doors, and the handle broke, and I couldn't get out. There was nobody else in the house, and I think I was only expecting somebody to come back. I hadn't got my mobile with me. It could have been hours. And it was a very small room, and I totally panicked. I had a massive panic attack. In the end, I got out by finding strength to kick a panel out of the door. It was absolutely awful. And it left me feeling, my sense, even talking to you now about it, I can feel my pulse racing. And my claustrophobia was much worse than it was before. And that reminds me of a dog that I went to a while ago, a Dalmatian. Before I even went, they showed me a photo of their sofa. You could see the floor through it because the dog was so frantic at being left alone with separation problems, it had dug through the sofa. So now they were leaving, I still can't breathe thinking about being shut in the loo. They were thinking that they left the Dalmatian in a crate, and that what had happened was he was so frantic to get out, he'd bent the bars, he'd broken teeth, and all they could think of doing was actually using cable ties to keep him in the crate, and that was just dreadful. So as a behaviourist, I'm looking at the root of the problem, which was separation problems. We worked very hard on separation, and they ditched the crate, and all was okay. But it was quite a long job. Anyway, so I think it's very important that puppy isn't shut in the crate unless he's happy. So you need to get him used to being happy. So the first thing, here are a few crate rules and tips. The first thing is to teach puppy to walk into the crate by himself. Don't lift him, manhandle him in the restaurant. And to begin with, I would say don't shut it at all. Always make walking into the crate rewarding. Maybe throw some food in ahead of him. Do it a lot of times before you shut the door. Play crate games. Play throwing something in for him to fetch out. Maybe put lots of little bits of food in his blanket for him to search for. You can find things to do, make it fun. When you first come to shut it, don't do it when he's very wakeful. Give him something to chew or Kong, just something to keep him happy, and make it very short. If you're going to go out of the room, a camera is very useful, so you can come back before he starts to stress. To begin with, just don't desert him, be around. So the crate is not for banishment nor punishment. So it needs to be in the social area of the house. When you do let him out, it should be before he's distressed, and I would say always just wait for him to just be quite calm before just casually opening the crate. Done. Putting him in, take him out, no big deal. Okay. Some other suggestions for leaving the puppy alone in crate, which this is obviously a bit further down the line when we know puppy's going to be okay, is a white noise. Maybe download special dog music, maybe cover the crate, leave him things to chew, but they have to be safe. There is, for a little puppy, there's a thing called Little Buddy, which I think is a little lamb. It has a beating heart. You can put something that smells of yourself in there, maybe even a hot water bottle. But just don't do it before puppy's happy. I think the price of a really unhappy puppy isn't worth it. So if crate training is really what you want to do, go about it in the same way as you would any other training with the puppy. You go slowly, you do lots of repetition, you use lots of reward and encouragement, and you do very short sessions. Now, if things have gone beyond this and the dog is suffering from bad separation problems, or you really need to get him in the crate for some reason, this has all been very general. I would suggest then is getting in touch with me and having some one-to-one help. It's not a lot of money, and it's a very good investment. Okay, right, well, I hope this has helped a little bit, and I hope any more discussions we have won't get too heated. And thank you for listening to me. Bye-bye.